حدش يتكلم. الحمد لله رب العالمين.
If Hamas are not being hammered every minute of the day from Israeli attacks, then it gives them a bit of breathing space. But it sort of works both ways. It also gives the Israeli forces to sort of test and adjust. And with the threat of attack off Hamas, then no doubt they will be less scrupulous about their security and hiding. So it'll provide opportunities, I expect also. I mean, nobody expects the Israeli sort of surveillance forces to stop working the minute the ceasefire happens. I expect they will be upping their capabilities. So again, it is a risk, but it goes both ways. And I'm sure that the Israelis will be looking very closely at that. So actually, if that is what Hamas are thinking, then, they might be in for a rude shock. Well, that is a real concern, obviously, and there are a lot of Palestinian prisoners that are going to be freed. However, I think one also has to look at the fact that these prisoners have been in Israeli custody, and we know how much care and detail Israeli security services and others go into. No doubt they now know exactly who all these people are. And no doubt, I say they'll be tagging them. I don't mean that they'll be necessarily electronically tagging them. But in a way, what one always says, if you know your enemy, then that is better than not knowing them. Keep your enemies' friends close, but your enemies closer. So yeah, it's a concern. But, the Israelis are absolutely past masters at this. And I'm sure they wouldn't be going into it if they thought that that was the case. I think also the final bit to this, the Israelis have said that Hamas have been so destroyed and denuded over, the time of the conflict with them, that they are no longer a viable force, a bit like Hezbollah, who the Israelis have also destroyed. So I think the Israelis have learnt an awful lot from the 7th of October and post the 7th of October. We have always assumed that the Israelis, particularly Mossad, their security agency, has absolutely everything under control. But, you can't cover every single base all of the time. But I'm sure that now that the national focus in Israel is almost 100% on this, that they will make sure that anybody that they are releasing is very, very closely watched. And as without repeating myself, I think this gives them more opportunities because, pretty much most of Hamas has been destroyed. Those that are left have been in prison and now been released. So almost they are they're a marker, they're a trail to, back to Gaza and the West Bank, wherever they're going to go. So I expect Israeli surveillance intelligence service will be upping its game rather than relaxing with the ceasefire that perhaps some people might think. Antony Blinken may well be right. However, you have to train these people. As we've seen in Ukraine, untrained conscripts are just cannon fodder, be they Russians or be they North Koreans. But training these people in the arts of terrorism, it is a substantial activity. To be a successful terrorist, this might sound a strange thing to say, you need to be well-trained, talented, and dedicated to your cause. Now, with the environment in Gaza at the moment, I would say that they're pretty much impossible to train these people, and even more impossible if there is a ceasefire. So, yeah, certainly there might be some young men who have been persuaded to join Hamas as their fellows have been killed in great numbers, but unless they're trained, they will be of no use to the organization. And that will be a key thing that the international community, whoever helps police the ceasefire, and no doubt the Israelis, will be looking at very closely.